Hi, welcome to my new video on Azure Resources. In this short video, we are going to see resource and resource groups. We are going to see sections related to what are resource groups, their uses, how to form resource groups, and what are the benefits of resource groups, along with what are the ways by which you can create a resource group. And we will be seeing a online demo on how to create a resource group. Well, first, prior to seeing the resource groups, let's first of all understand what is a resource. The resource is nothing but an Azure service such as App Service, Azure Storage, Azure Active Directory, etc. It means whenever you create a new resource, you are actually creating the Azure service. So, in short, resources are instances of services that you create, such as virtual machines, storage, and databases. Every time you create an instance of a service, you are creating a resource. There are hundreds of services available from Microsoft Azure using which you can create a resource. That is, you are going to create an instance of your service. So, when you are creating an instance of your service, you need to have an resource group with whom your resource need to be associated. So, it is better to understand what is a resource group. What is it? A resource group is nothing but a container that holds related resources for an Azure solution. The first thing what you need to do while creating a resource is you need to create a resource group first and then create the resource. And so a resource group is a container that holds related resources for an Azure solution. Resource groups are just a kind of logical containers where you can deploy and manage Azure resources like web apps, databases, and storage accounts. These resource groups can include all the resources for the solution or only those resources that you want to manage as a group. Say, for example, if your resource group has 10 different Azure services or resources, if you want to manage only 6 out of them, then you can form a resource group only for those 6 items. Every Azure service must be located in a resource group. You can tie a resource with only one resource group. The resources you include in the resource group can be located in different Azure region, even in different region than that of the group itself. So when you are forming a group, you need to take care of this. And another few important things about the resource groups, which include number one, Azure groups shall be used to provide role-based access control to the resources within that group. When a resource group is deleted, all the resources in the group are all deleted. You can deploy maximum of 800 resources or resource instances of a resource type in a resource group. But there are some exceptions on it, but we need not worry much on about them. If you simply delete a group as one, this eliminates the possibility of orphaned or zombie resources left running and driving up the cloud cost. Every resource in the resource group can connect to other resource group services. And each resource group can deploy 800 services at a time. As we have seen already, when you delete a resource group, then all the services which are part of the resource group are all deleted. Next, let's see 5 more important things that you need to know about the resource groups. However, the resource groups themselves can, though it can be of any region, you need to note down these 5 important points. Number one, region selection. When you create a resource group, you specify a region. It is the region where the metadata about the resource group is going to be stored. Number two is related to interaction. Resources in one resource group can interact with the resources in other resource group. There is no restriction on this. Number three, association. You can move resources from one resource group to another. Please note, you first of all should have to remove a resource from a resource group and then associate with the another group. In some cases, it is going to be a combo selection, so absolutely there won't be any issue while transferring or while updating a resource group information for a resource. The fourth important one is movement. You can move a resource from one resource group to another resource group. Based upon your requirement, you can do these things. And finally, you can remove a resource from the resource group at any time without affecting the functionality of the application that it serves. So these are the five important things that you should have to know. In the next section, let's see how to structure a resource group. There are five important. There are many, however, the five common ways by which you can structure resource groups. Number one, under a subscription, you can create multiple resource group based upon environment. The environment can be development, testing, or staging. And the second one is under a subscription, you can create multiple resource group based upon the business unit or service unit. For example, finance, marketing. Next one, under a subscription, you can create multiple groups based upon applications. Say, for example, application 1, application 2, etc. The fourth important way, create multiple resource group based upon a department associated with the business unit. The fifth one, you can create multiple groups based upon country. Say, for example, North America region, within which you can have US, Canada, and other stuff. Or you can go by region wise, like North America, EMEA, that is Europe region, or Asia Pacific, like that. The last one, you can create multiple groups based upon resource type itself or combination of this. Say, for example, you can group the storage account resources under one category. Web app and the app service can be grouped together. Virtual machines along with web apps can be grouped together. So these are the different ways by which you can structure resource groups. Next, let's see what are the key uses of a resource group. There are many uses of creating resource group, out of which these three are very important. Number one, access control. Resource group makes it easier to apply access controls. Azure Resources groups shall be used to provide role-based access control, and so the access control can be uniform across the resources inside a resource group. The second one is controlling the cost. Using resource group, it is life is easier to apply monitoring activity over the resources under a resource group and track the cost related to specific workloads very easily. Third one, deploy and management. You can deploy, update, or delete the services together, and so managing the resources under a resource group is much easier. Next, let's see Azure Resource Group best practices. These are some of the best practices that many people used to follow. Number one, Azure resources in a group should have the same life cycle. For example, if an application requires different resources that need to be updated together, such as having a SQL databases or a web app or a mobile app, then it makes sense to group those resources in the same resource group. Something like my app development. For others life cycle such as testing, production deployment, create as many number of groups and use them. The second one is about resources can be added or deleted from a resource group. However, each of your resources must belong to at least one resource group. Sorry, it's only one resource group. So if you remove the resource from one resource group, you must add it to another. So that's an important practice that you should have to follow. The third one is it is a best practice to keep all resources in a resource group in the same region to reduce latency or cross region data transfer. And the fourth important one, grant access with the resource groups. You should use resource group to control access resource resources. And the fifth and final one, every resource group has its own deployment location to store the metadata of the services which are contained in the resource group, no matter in which location your services are deployed. So choose the deployment location based upon regulatory requirement. Now let's see ways to create Azure resource groups. There are four different ways by which you can create resource groups. The first and most important one, as well as the easiest one, is using the Azure portal. The Azure portal is a web-based unified console that provides an alternative to command line tools. With the help of Azure portal, you can manage your Azure resource group using a graphical user interface. You can build, manage, and monitor everything from simple web app to complex cloud deployment model using this web interface. That's nothing but Azure portal. The second one is Azure PowerShell scripts. Azure PowerShell is a set of commandlets called as CMDlets for managing Azure resources directly from the PowerShell. Using Azure PowerShell, which is designed to make it easy to learn and get started with, but it provides powerful features like automation. The third one is Azure CLI. The Azure Command Line Interface, otherwise called as CLI, is a cross-platform command line tool to connect to Azure and execute administrative commands on the Azure resources. It allows the execution of commands through the terminal using interactive command line prompts or scripts. The fourth and final one is use of ARM template. These ARM templates are a form of infrastructure as a code, a concept where you find the infrastructure that needs to be deployed. These ARM, otherwise called as Azure Resource Management templates, use declarative syntax, meaning you to define the resources for the Azure to deploy without specifying how the resources are created. Let's see how to create an Azure resource group using Azure portal in the online demo. Let's get into the online demo. Sign in to Microsoft Azure and you are going to be in the home page. Ignore the messages, whatever you are getting. You just start typing or search for resource groups and you will get the results, and the topmost one is the resource group. Upon selection of the resource group, you can just create by pressing the create command button, and we are going to create a resource group under a subscription. Here I'm having only the free trial subscription. I need to enter the resource group name. I need to choose a valid resource group name. the so for example, I should not use any resource group name which is already exist. So I provided a group for departments as a resource group, and then I need to select in which region I'm creating it. After that, you just press next to tags. I'm going to provide unique tag name and its value to the group whatever I have created. You can apply tags to your Azure resources uh, to logically organize them for various purposes. So it's a kind of key value pair. So I'm providing a lifecycle as development, and you can create as many number of tags for the resource group. Say for example, I have another tag. So if you want, you can do it. Otherwise, you just create it. So upon pressing create, you will get your resource group is created. You can use download a template for automation, or you can do validation. And if you see on the right hand side, your resource group is getting created within a matter of minute. You go to your home screen and see the details about the resource group that it is created, including location, tags, and other informations. I have not added any resource group, and so it is empty now. Just go there and then look for resource groups, and then you again search for resource group. So here I have two different resource groups are all selected, and you can click on any resource group whatever you created and see many things associated with the resource group. We are going to get into details about this thing later. With that, I would like to close up today's short video on learning resource and resource group. I hope this video is helpful to you in your learning exercise as well as preparation for your interview as well as examination preparation. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell. If you have any comments to pass it to me, you write down your comments below. And as usual, this is not the end of my series of learning videos to you. We will be continuing our discussion further in another important topic related to Microsoft Azure. Till then, stay safe,